So some of the players that we mentioned above has been disappeared in the playoffs, or rather shrunk. But some of the players that we want to mention right now has improved more and more when it came to the clutch time, when it came to playoffs, when it mattered the most. So who would your MIP be?
For me, my most improved player is Reggie Jackson. Compared to last season's bubbles, he was more like a bench player, coming off the bench, just scoring the threes, locking down the players. He wasn't a pivotal part. He was just a squad player in my opinion. Last season, I remember him because they went against the Mavs in the first round and we got knocked out. Well, and then Lucas scored a 3-pointer buzzer beater against Reggie Jackson. That's where I remember Reggie Jackson. He showed hustle. That was it though. Look, this season, he showed up. He stepped up. Really, 32.7 minute average. That's like a starter time, and he averaged 70.8 points average, 7.5 field goal, 3 points attempted. That's a huge increase from 2.7 last season, and he scored 40.8 points from three. Well, he scored. I felt like he scored threes whenever the team needed someone to score. Against the Utah, especially, I think Reggie Jackson stepped up a lot, and he was a very pivotal part of the Clippers, unlike the last season bubbles. I think that gets him a most improved player. He really stepped up. He earned it. I think because Clippers had a good run, they went to the conference finals, went against the Suns, went up to Game 6. Unfortunately, Kawhi Leonard they missed Kawhi Leonard and they got knocked out. But still, he earned himself a recognition by helping the team reach that level. I think next year they could reach the finals, in my opinion.
Reggie Jackson obviously is a great pick, and I don't blame you for choosing Reggie Jackson, but I gotta rep my boys. I gotta go with Pat Connaughton for most improved player. You might think it's a delusional pick, but I think in the finals he really showed. Because before the playoffs, I'm gonna be honest, I bashed on Pat Connaughton. Every single Bucks scapegoat was number 1, Coach Bud, and number 2, Pat Connaughton. But Pat Connaughton, in the playoffs, he was nothing but great. I have to apologize to Pat whenever I see him. Career high, 6.9 points per game in the playoffs. 39% from 3-point, 44% in the finals. And I believe he has the most threes in the finals, but that's something else, something I should have done. But the last time I checked, he was 5.6% offensive rebound percentage. So estimated percentage of offensive rebound a player grabbed when they were on the floor. So that's top 10 in the finals among all players who played at least 100 minutes. Top 3 in offensive rating. With 127 among all the players in the finals that has played at least 100 minutes. So yeah, Pat Connaughton, but the thing about Pat Connaughton cannot be showed on the stat sheets. The amount of hustle, defense, like offense too, and clutchness that he brings, you just cannot see it on a stat sheet.
I agree with Pat Connaughton, in my opinion. I have some honorable mentions though. I have Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown, yes.
Bruce Brown. Any words on Bruce Brown?
Bruce Brown, yes. One word for Bruce Brown. When he said if the Nets were healthy, would they beat the Bucks? And he said yes. Maybe you shouldn't have blown an open layup in Game 3. Then you guys might have won the series. But Bruce Brown, nothing but greatness for Bruce Brown too. Bruce Brown, I think it was Game 3 where he played really well because the Bucks were up by like 20, 21. And Bruce Brown stepped in and then he cut the lead very, very short. So I want to credit Bruce Brown here and there.
Mm-hmm. Bruce Brown for me, I think Steve Nash wanted to play a small ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce Brown, he played in the center position sort of. He wasn't like a main ball handler or anything. They gave it to Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant was the tallest player for Nets on the court. Bruce Brown, I think he's really quick. He's agile. He gets into the position where he can make an easy open layup, and I think he was an important part, not pivotal, but a very important part. I think he deserves to be a shout. Another shout for me is Campaign. No, Campaign, he deserves a shot. Like, Suns went into the finals. He had that 120.9 game against the Clippers, and that was inspiring for me. I think Campaign wasn't in my memory. Like, I didn't even know about him, to be honest. Campaign was like, I'm sorry to Campaign, but I didn't know about you. But when you had 29-point games and I watched the other games of yours, you were fantastic. He was really good. He was every time it was like that bench time, right? When the bench players garbage time when the bench players come in during like the first
not the garbage time.
Not the garbage time.
Yes,
for sure.
I see
like the last something like the last 2 minutes of the first quarter and the first like 3 minutes of the second quarter. Those time, right? When the bench players come in, he was showing. Campaign was showing. He was getting the threes. Obviously his form is a little his form is a little like weird in my opinion, but still I admire what he has done, the way he showed, especially the 29-point game. So campaign also deserves it for me.
Hey, for me, I've got to rep the other team, which I don't have the jersey or any merchandise of, Atlanta Hawks. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I mentioned that the Hawks were going to win in 7, June 2nd, 10 p.m. And this guy laughed at me for thinking that. But we know the results. And the biggest, or not the biggest, but in Game 7, one of the biggest performers, Kevin Huerter, the Red Velvet. This guy went straight at Seth Curry. He's like, come at me. And he dropped 27 points with 18 shots. 10 with 10 shot made. Just incredible. And speaking of Seth Curry, I want to mention Seth Curry as well. Imagine letting go of Seth Curry for Josh Richardson. I would never do that. I cannot imagine a franchise doing this. 51% from three-pointer and 18.8 points per game. That is just outstanding. But all that just for Josh Richardson. How sad.
I was pretty close to splashing this water in your face. Look, I don't even know, man. I'm not a math sport, I didn't want Seth Curry to go. I wasn't happy when Josh Richardson came in instead of Seth Curry. I was like, what? I was like, I guess if Josh Richardson is a defender, he's a ball handler. I guess if he does well, it'll be alright. But that guy was, he got traded again.
And yeah, but Seth Curry, Huerter, those two. That they deserve so many shots. More than people think.
Thanks for watching Away End on YouTube. To lose more IQ and sports knowledge, subscribe to the Away End channel.